Okay, we got a eBay find here, and I don't have one of these in my collection, so I made a special deal with a fellow, and I feel like I got a good deal. I don't know what condition it's in. It may be in unrepairable condition, and if that's the case, then I'll learn from it. But wow, he took special care in wrapping it, that's for sure. And there's the tubes. Tone arm spring screw. Listen, tone arm spring screw. Alright. And the tubes. Pull them out and wrap them so that they would ship without rattling around. Be careful removing bracing. Listening needle is embedded in styrofoam. Okay. Okay. So there it is. You can see how small it is. Missing a knob there. Okay. Get into this. There we go. This will record 33 RPM records. They're about the size of 45 RPM. And I have a whole collection of Ruby records, unrecorded, that may or may not fit. All right, let's see if we can get in here. Be careful removing bracing. Listening needle is embedded in styrofoam. Okay. All right, got stains of ink on there. And here's the back. Requires a special power cord, which I don't have. Microphone. Well, he said it took a stand. There's the microphone, I guess. Takes a standard microphone jack. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure out what all these plugs are needed in order for it to play. There's missing, there's a clip of some kind back here. So I don't know what all this stuff does. Like I said, I've never had one of these in my collection, so, but it's supposed to cut, and when I say cut, it actually burns or melts records. Okay. There we go. There's the playback needle. So the records have a square hole in them to keep them so that they'll turn and burn and so yeah, got a lot to learn about this SOUNDSCRIBER. Never used one. So the turntable tubes on and off, and the turntable start and stop. And then there's an index with numbers. It's supposed to have numbers on it. I'll have to print one, I guess, for it. And this will ride across here and melt the audio image into the plate. The plate is in one piece. That's a good sign. It's not cracked. I don't know what this is. Tone, maybe. I don't know what that knob is. I'm gonna hold on to the volume or the playback head. So it turns. I don't know what it's going to take. We'll pull these screws out. Pull the whole assembly out of the chassis. But this is the SOUNDSCRIBER serial number, if anybody cares, is Romeo November Umbrella Sierra Whiskey. And doesn't have it's made from New Haven, Connecticut. 1941 to 1949, I believe. There's no date on this, but I'm pretty sure that's the date. And I don't know if these are screws or what. Yeah, they look like they're screws. So we can pull the wood box off of the chassis. I'm holding on to the playback here because I'm afraid the needle's going to get damaged. There. All right. So that's what we're going to do. We'll get the chassis screws out and maybe, hopefully, disassemble it. I don't know what it'll take. I probably need to look up instructions to see if there are any disassembly instructions. Sometimes this older equipment came with, or you could buy that tone arm. Use some kind of cloth to connect the playback head to the arm. Use like a piece of cloth as a hinge. So I'm going to flip that upside down so that the needle won't get tore up. But there is a needle on it. That's a good sign. All right, so let's get some instructions out. Let me get you a little closer in. And we'll take a look. There's the playback head and the record head. Switches, some, I don't know, tone or something. I forgot. I read something about it. The speaker. Guess that's a speaker. The record and playback. Listen and talk, it's called. And then the cabinet is all wood. And get a little closer here. Yeah, there we go. And wood back, two arms. There's some kind of a knob here. I don't know what that knob is. And different jacks. Could be a microphone jack. I don't know what these are. Remote control switches, maybe foot controls. External speaker. All kinds of options there. And then there's the bottom. Circuit board. All kinds of controls here. Okay, got the screws pulled out around the edges and the back. Because the whole thing should just pull out here. It hadn't been out in years, probably. My goodness. All right, let's see if we can get it. Lay it down on its. Okay, that's the speaker connection there. There we go. All right. It's just going to come out. It's going to come out hard. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so there's the speaker and the chassis, the wooden case. I still don't know what this little clip is right here. Looks like the one in the front to hold the needle. Okay, all the screws. And yeah, there's a leather or some kind of a hinge that holds that. That's completely ruined. So we're going to have to check on that. And we don't even know if the crystal microphone on this pickup is any good. All right, this arm releases when we flip this switch. So let's see if we can flip that switch without doing any harm. There we go. Drop that down, and then this operates off of gears to ride it across the record. So there's record, and there's play. Okay. All right. And there's a screw missing on top here that holds this up or puts tension on it. I'm assuming that's what that is. Might be. I don't know. Yeah, it's some kind of a rubber hinge material that's just completely dissolved. I'm worried about these wires. Probably ought to just tape that on there, but then this needle is going to be a problem. And I don't see any way to take that needle out unless it just pulls out. No. Yeah, and no telling what condition that needle is in. Little sapphire tip. I could pull this. You know, that won't do it. I was thinking that would release this cable. Well, it might. Yeah, we got some work to do on this arm. So, I still don't know what this is, but we'll figure that out. This has one of the same type hinges, I guess. Looks like it. maybe not. Okay. And I think there's a drive mechanism that turns this. So I'd really like to get this needle out of here without ruining it. So let's see if I can get this screw out. And that spring mechanism, how is it held in? Oh, there's a little bushing there, or washer, excuse me. Yep, with a star washer. Okay, there's the counterweights and the stop. That's super heavy. Okay. How that comes out, but there's a screw in each side of the arm. We'll take it out. Those two screws, same size. There we go. All right, I won't have to stress about this playback arm anymore. That'll just come right out like that. And you can see the fiber. Yeah, there's a broken wire already. Sorry if I get on camera there. There's a broken wire right there. Goes up inside there somewhere. And then there's that cloth hinge. So what we can do is loosen this and pull this tape off, and then that hole releases this whole wire. So let me get a cut that tape. There we go. That's what I was trying to do, is get that off. Pivot. And we'll remove this tape. There we go. And we can replace that cellophane or whatever that was with some Kapton tape. There we go. And then we'll loosen that screw. Okay. There we go. It's a lock washer. One of these is magnetic. There we go. Goes on that little nut. And then the retainer with a little rubber bushing that's ruined, dried out, whatever, and glued on there. There we go. Okay, now I got the head free. See? And yeah, I'm not really sure how that works, but anyway, all we need to do is put a new piece of rubber, or I can 3D print. There we go. I'll pop it out. I don't know what I did with it. There it is. So I can 3D print one of these piece of TPU rubber. Okay, so the arm is out now. And I still don't know what this is. Yep, don't know what that is. right. So let's flip this up. So there is a needle on the record, so that's a good sign. And this bushing that drives the turntable, I think, is damaged. So the turntable is just kind of running free there. I think I can pull the turntable off. I hate to let it get damaged. Okay, so if we pull these two assemblies loose, this whole thing should lift off and then unplug. The head should unplug. That's the raise and lower function when we turn the record and playback on. Huh. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So that's adjustable. And it lowers this down just to the right pressure. So that's going to have to come out. No, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll leave that nut loose. Actually, let's put the nut back on there so we don't lose the adjustment. And tighten that. There we go. If we take this off, we may be able to just slip the whole thing right out. So let's try. Oh, okay, maybe it loosened there. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, we'll unplug the head wires. There we go. Okay, there's the record head. And there's a kind of a metal. That's got a metal reed in there to work like a hinge. Different than the playback. The playback uses vinyl. All right, well, now we can pull the platen off, turntable off. Okay. And this has a rubber. We're getting in deep here, man, I'm telling you. Oh my goodness, this is rubber and it's ruined. It is absolutely shot. Rubber and cork. And it turns kind of, sort of. Yeah, there's some kind of a drive mechanism here with a motor. And then this is bound up tight. You can't even turn it. Oh, yeah, see, this is the belt. So the the turntable's not going to run if we don't get this. We don't 3D print a new tire for it. but we can do that with TPO. I think it'll work beautifully. I've done a lot of tires like this on tape recorders. And let's take a look at that. Yeah, you can see the tire material just breaks off. And then there's a cork. Well, I don't know what that looks like, cork on there as well. I'm not sure why they have both, because it's all one surface. So I'm not sure why they had both cork and rubber. Maybe rubber wasn't enough of a grip, because they're even. And I don't know if there's a snap ring there. I see grease, but I don't see a snap ring. And that might be just a bolt that you have to turn to get the turntable off. There we go. Wait, there it is. Okay, get the camera lens on it. Okay, let me point some things out here. All right, this is the axle for the turntable, and there's some kind of a clutch right here. This is the drive motor right here, the drive motor for the turntable. And I don't see anything else. This is a transmission. And you can see the gear, see that little shaft right there coming out and going up in here. See it up in there? This is a little transmission. So when the turntable is turning, that little transmission is driving this gear. Right there is a gear. Right there. That's a gear that pulls, I believe it's pulling the tone arm on that little hook right here, or something. It's driving. Yeah, it goes into another transmission. So this is the record transmission here, and that turns when the turntable turns. So when this is turning, there's a shaft that goes over and drives this transmission and moves this over at the right groove length. So one of the things that these are notoriously bad about is this rubber connector between the two. See that? It's like a soft control that the motor turns and grips. It's like a coupler. So this coupler gets broken and you have to create a new one. It's probably just as brittle as glass. And the turntable, I can't turn, well, I should be able to turn the turntable. Let's do that. Let's see if I can get that little, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to try to turn the turntable. Yeah, it's not going to turn. There it goes. You can see it turning just a little bit. It's just bound up. And of course the rubber on the edge, you can see it there, break into a million pieces. So we got a lot of work to do here to get this thing working. It's a great big project, but I'm excited about it because I would love to be able to get it working especially on a video, and might take several episodes to get it rolling. So this might be the first episode, just taking it apart and getting it out of its case and getting some of the pieces off. And then we'll get the turntable off and cleaned up, get the transmission out, and make sure that all this stuff is turning when the transmission and the motor and everything is turning. We'll get all that running. We'll 3D print a new tire, a new tire for the turntable, because it's just shot. And let's see what else. Then of course we haven't even talked about what it's going to take to get the electronics going. I did want you to see what it looks like here. A lot of paper caps, an old electrolytic paper cap, and what do I do with my flashlight? There it is. So yeah, all of these paper caps have got to be replaced, and we'll check the resistors. That there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 regular paper caps, and then this big electrolytic, which looks like, I was going to say it looks like it's been leaking, but anyway, a lot of work to get the electronics. Oh, there's one hidden back in there too. So 10 to 12 paper caps and 2 or 3 electrolytics. That's going to be a lot of work. So, and then we've got to figure out, because I don't have any documentation on this, we're going to have to figure out where the power hooks up and how it's controlled with the switch, the thing here. So that'll be interesting. The red wire comes over here to the motor. It's hooked right to the this red lead goes to the motor. Both of these red leads go to the motor, and they have been repaired. Somebody has been dinking with it. They might have put new wires. Yeah, I think they put new wires, because that's heat shrink tubing right there. So somebody has had it running, or tried to get it running, jumping AC into the motor with this switch. So this switch probably had a hand mic or something on it, I don't know, with a cord for the audio and a switch to turn it on and off and reverse it or whatever. Not reverse it, but just to play the turntable. And then you flip the switch in the front of the unit to tell it to record or play back. So I don't see any other evidence of work being done. I don't see any replaced components. They all look original, but this has definitely been repaired with heat shrink tubing. See that? Like brand new stuff. So the motor is controlled by this. You put AC on here probably, and we'll have to figure that out, how much power it takes. And then where all these leads go, there's the power switches up there. We'll get to them in a minute. There they are. Power switches are here for the tubes and the motor. And then there's capacitors here on the switches, probably to soften the spikes. And then there's a light bulb back there. You can see the tip of it. And I don't even know what it's lighting, because you can't even see. Maybe through the top. No, I don't know. I don't know what it's lighting. Yeah, so there's the switch, and then there's the lighting control right there for talk and listen. Okay. Okay, thank goodness I didn't break. All right. think we'll call this, stop this right here, and send me your comments and questions, concerns, thoughts. It's really hard to know where to start. We've got so much that has to be done. We've got to rebuild the electronics, rebuild the electronics. We've got to redo the rubber here. We've got to repair the hinge on the playback head. We've got a lot of work to do to get this back in working order. Then we got to figure out, look at this exposed 1/4-inch phone jack. It just probably disconnects the speaker when you plug this in. I don't know. There might be a microphone that works from here or from here. If you plug it into here, plug the mic in here, it may disconnect the connections here and allow you to record. I don't know why they would have an on-off switch there built in, but you can see it's kind of a really crude 1/4-inch phone jack. Look at that. Extremely old. So it plugs in there and makes connection with the ground and with the one terminal, the tip. All right, well, thanks for watching. This has been an exciting discovery. I'm going to have to leave this on the bench and make a list of things that need to be done, and not the least of which, to see what it would take to clean the ink off of the cabinet. I mean, I could sand it, but I don't know. I might just leave it. It looks like somebody was killed on it or something. I don't know. We'll see what we can do with that, but that's the least of our worries, right? Well, this has been an exciting project, and I'm looking forward to getting this 1941, 1949, roughly 75, 80-year-old SOUNDSCRIBER working, and it'll take a lot of work to get everything working. I'm thinking I need to power up the amp with a light bulb to prevent shorts, and do a slow start on the amp. The main reason is that I want to check to see if the playback cartridge is actually working. If I can touch the playback cartridge once I get it hooked back up, and see if we have audio, because that cartridge is going to be an important piece of the repair, or I won't be able to play back on the unit, because those cartridges are rare. And I don't really have any way of effectively testing the record cutting head, but I can try. But I can't hook the thing up and let the motor run because everything's locked up tight. So I've got a lot of work to do there. But I would like to power up the amp, and I can run the amp, I believe, with the switches on the front, turn the motor off, and turn the amp on with tubes or whatever it was called. I think it said tubes and then motor. And we should be able to see if we have any audio coming from the playback head. That will be a priority before I rebuild the amp. I don't want to go to a lot of trouble, spend a lot of money on all new capacitors, and spend 6-7 hours of recapping that amplifier, because it'll take a lot of time, and then we'll go from there with the repair. I can print the turntable rubber grip for the turntable. That will not be a problem. I'm going to try not to disturb the cork. Not that that cork would do anything really, but I'm going to leave it on there. There's probably a reason for that being left separate from the rubber. But I'll peel the rubber, clean the rubber off, and put a new rubber ring on there and glue that. That'll be good. But I need to get the turntable off of the record player in order to be able to put that rubber on there and press it and let the glue dry perfectly smooth, so it's a nice smooth ring, so that the turntable doesn't wobble or whatever. So that's where I'm at. I have all the tubes on the bench. You saw that they were all wrapped in plastic and all of those tubes need to be tested. I can run those on the tube tester. So we'll just take it one step at a time, and I've enjoyed taking this thing apart. I need to make some notes. There was a day when I could take stuff like this apart and had photographic memory and could remember where every screw went and didn't think about it. Those days have passed, so I need to find a carton or a tray to store all the screws and separate them so that I know where everything goes and not losing them and dropping them off of the cart there. So that's the latest with the Vintage Tech Repair. I hope you've enjoyed this, and don't hesitate to leave any comments below, and thank you for your support.